Most of the organizations believe recession will not happen in this country. They used to at least believe. Now things are changing, right? Business cycle says after every progress that happens, there shall be recession that will come. I don't know why people believe that. Probably Albert Einstein was right when he said that human beings love to believe that there will be permanence always. And somewhere it's foolishness, because there is no permanence. So after every stage of prosperity that the organization moves into, there shall be a state of depression that will come. But what happens when the prosperity starts setting in is people are completely involved in pleasure. Full-on parties, we're doing well, we're possibly the best team that happened, we've shown it to everybody, and then what happens is complacency starts setting in. We don't talk the language that, hey, look, we're on a high right now and there is a low round the corner. And there is always a low round the corner. But there are organizations which have been able to deal with this low also. So what happens if I were to look at this business cycle in an emotional way? Like I said, EI is very dear to me. I look at organizations moving from pleasure to anxiety. From anxiety they move into pain. And then suddenly the hope comes. So as long as there is hope and as long as there is pleasure, people within the organization are engaged. But the moment there is anxiety and pain, there is a disconnect, no? But it's going to be there. I believe a lot of IT companies have to hire professional counselors to deal with issues. Yeah, I've also believed, and I know for a fact, since I'm a coach and a lot of time my proteges discuss this with me, which is very unfortunate, there are suicidal tendencies that do set in because there's huge insecurity associated with the cycle. We need to ensure that our workforce understands that businesses will go through this cycle, and emotionally we've got to be ready to deal with this. But there is a way out to come out of the cycle, which is what we've said. You've got to accelerate breakthrough innovations within the organization. And I think that's where the workout processes that me and Naren we used to do while we were engaged earlier, the workout processes are the innovation processes which constantly help the organization adapt to maybe the challenging situations or the good situations. And a target time of 45 days is associated with most of the workouts. That whatever ideas or whatever concepts that come in, you've got to get them going in 45 days' time. We are going to talk about innovation as we move through. But yeah, the cycle will exist, and the only way to beat this cycle is to constantly look at what's not going right and then move at innovations. By the way, like bandwidth is the most abused word in IT, innovation is also the most abused word in IT. And I'm very wary about this word called bandwidth, because every time I take the elevator in any IT company, I hear a lot of people who are going to the tapri to have chai saying, I don't have the bandwidth, why can't my manager understand this? And I do get to know this conversation every time I'm in the lift. And I'll tell you what, as an outside consultant, my ears are always open, because that's the way I get my data for doing my training program. So I actually spend a lot of time in elevators. And bandwidth always is a word that gets talked about. Why? Because the importance of a person is based on this word bandwidth, right? If I said I have the bandwidth, people look at me with open eyes, broad eyes, and say, what's wrong with you here? You don't have work, you got bandwidth. So I have to say I don't have bandwidth. Where did I learn this? I learned it from my manager. Where did the manager learn? Probably learned it from the CEO. CEOs can excuse me for this. I tend to be a little brash and arrogant about what I say, but I do say that. I am yet to find a CEO who has never told me, I don't have the bandwidth. He always tells me I have the bandwidth. But these are the performing CEOs. But CEOs who constantly claim, bandwidth nahi hai, problem hai. Right? So, we got a problem. If you don't have the bandwidth, you can't innovate. If you want to innovate, you better create that bandwidth. Now, when we're talking about innovation, we're actually talking about the customer attitude versus the economy that we're dealing with. And you look at this 9 different boxes, and you look at that weird polygon that looks in the middle. We'll talk about the polygon a little later. If you look at the time, which is a turbulent time, where the willingness of your customer to buy your services or your product is low, and the economy is going through a bad time, that's your first box. And that's where, in the long tail effect, the certain cheaper alternatives are going to bail you out. You have to have these cheaper alternatives. If you're only going to operate at the top of the pyramid, as far as the product line is concerned or as far as the market is concerned, you are at a huge risk. And I have known for sure certain organizations that we work with who are big time IT guys, they have certain products which people within the organization question. I said, Chota Mota, why are we going up with these small products? They're important. That's what bails you out during the worst situation. We're talking about the second part where the economy is moving medium term, however, still the consumer is very tentative. At that point in time also, he's not looking at very attractive kind of products, but he's looking at minor incremental innovations because ultimately the customer wants to be safe in terms of his spending also. But if you look at all the other boxes, if you notice, they're all full of breakthrough innovations. Now research says, one of the things that I learned in one of the researches was you can actually do a research and prove it is right. Because the way you did the research, it gave you a number, and now you don't have any other way out but to prove that the hypothesis is right? So I don't know whether the research is right or wrong, but research says that most of the times organizations are into incremental innovations and they actually believe they're doing breakthrough. Now what's the difference between incremental and breakthrough? For us, it's very simple. Incremental, if you're operating in the same segment. Breakthrough, if you've created a new segment. If the folks within your organization are constantly moving into new segments, you are actually creating breakthrough innovation. And by the way, when we talk about recession time, we're talking about that space in which we operate where the recession is happening. There could be another space where there's a lot of opportunity. And I was reading a very interesting story yesterday while I was traveling, and the story was one sales guy was sent to one country to sell shoes. He went to the country and he saw nobody wore shoes. So he came back to the office and said, no market. They said, why? Nobody wears shoes. So the manager sent another guy. He went and he saw the same people and he came back, big time opportunity. He said, why? Nobody wears shoes. So one person looks at nobody wears shoes as an opportunity and the other person looks at nobody wears shoes as no market zone. So you've got to look at breakthrough. But breakthrough is painful. Breakthrough requires a totally different mindset. What's the mindset that's required? This is what we're working on. And that's the next myth we want to smash. IT companies are highly technical oriented. Technical programs attract, or technical upgrades attract 100% of people. But when it comes to competencies, which are typical behaviors required to deal with the turbulence time, you don't get people. Can't blame the folks in the organization. It's the culture of the organization. I'm not trying to sell training programs here. I'm just trying to sell the idea that please do have a competency matrix. And unless you have a competency matrix, you're not going to know whether you have the right hires or you don't have the right hires. It's appalling to see certain organizations, big time, do not have identified behaviors of success within the organization. How will your recruiter know whom to hire and whom not to hire? But I'm glad a lot of organizations actually are moving into concrete competency grids now. So we realize that if you're looking at 67% of performance coming from competencies and 33% of competence coming from only skills. Why? Because skills are hold good as long as the situation is normal in nature. The moment you move into a situation which is abnormal in nature, you require people who are competent to deal with that situation. Now, what are the competencies that we're looking at? There could be inventory of competencies, but the ones that we've actually looked at is result orientation has to be extremely high. Now, we find in our work, there are people who are activity oriented, Our country is full of people who are activity oriented. They keep trying. What are you doing? Ho raha hai. Kab ho raha hai? Ho raha hai. It's very nice to be activity oriented. Why? Because I don't go through the pain that I have to create something. And I have a process which is going on. So we got to have people who operate on result orientation. Work done on time and of desired quality. Normally work gets done of quality but not on time, or work gets got done on time but it could be a compromise on quality. Both ways we have an issue. That's activity orientation. We're talking about ambiguity. This is something that we have to work on. And with Generation Y, this is going to be a problem. Because the Generation Y is now living in a situation of absolute process. And process is the next abused word in every organization. For any problem that comes up, people want to create a process. And ultimately, we have so many processes that we need a process to control these processes, right? Which doesn't make sense. So the process is the next abused word that we have. Pressure. I don't like that word again, managing pressure, but can't help it. Competencies get defined like that. But it actually should be withstanding pressure, The pressure is going to grow and grow and grow. Your folks have to take that pressure. They cannot say that, come karo, reduce the stress. It's not going to be like that. Turbulence is definitely stressful. We're looking at strategic capability. Your people will have to engage with the customer and talk his business. One of the things that I found in my coaching processes was technical guys talk technology with the customer, but they don't talk money or business with the customer. And in turbulence time, the only thing that's going to take you through is the business talk. We talk about the excellence part. That's where the competencies actually come in. I don't need to do everything right the first shot. We also need people with domain expertise, which is not a problem. I think that surely exists within the organization. But there's a very low focus in terms of building effective teams. I think the next myth that has to be smashed is people perform or don't perform based on whether the manager or the organization is creating the platform for success. A lot of managers want ready-made material out of the market and they should come and start delivering on the day one. It doesn't work like that. Managers have to be told that, and CEOs primarily, have to have this within their mind that you must create the right platform for people to succeed.